So I thought I might have a few things to add to the conversation on the topic of AI, artificial intelligence, its uses, its the opportunities, and also some of the dangers. What's interesting about AI is, for me anyway, is that it wasn't even hardly on my radar 6 months ago, and now suddenly I'm hearing about it all the time. Um, I've got two people that I'm close to who uh, are AI professionals. I've got a brother who is a computer programmer and putting together a consulting business in AI for legal professionals. And then another friend who does computer programming as well and specializes in AI. And then yesterday, on an airline flight from where I live up to Chicago, I happened to be seated next to an AI professional who is a high paid AI consultant who works directly for Amazon. And we talked about AI almost the entire flight. And so that was also a big eye opener for me. And then this morning I watched a video from Robert Smith entitled "The Disproportionate Effect of AI on Female Employment," which was very good. And so all these things add up. AI is turning into a a hugely important aspect and factor in our lives, soon to be in our everyday lives. Um, there's still obviously a very long ways to go in how all this evolves, especially in a lot of the legalities and liabilities connected with AI. Uh, I also am in the publishing business. I own a publishing company. I've got upwards of 55 titles on Amazon, um, various various types of works, and so I've got some experience publishing. Recently, it's become a requirement when you go to the content page to publish on KDP on Amazon. You have to check a box on whether or not you used AI in any part of the development of that book. And then talking to this individual yesterday, that's turning into a huge concern because people are using AI to develop, all sorts of things, um, plot lines, storylines, illustrations, all kinds of content for all kinds of publications where you're going to use the collected works and influences from previously established artists uh, and generate new content. And the question is who does that work belong to, or what's going to happen with the copyright laws in connection with using AI in developing new content. And so that's going to be really interesting because if we copyright the algorithms that have been used for all these different productions, then suddenly we're going to run out of algorithms, and suddenly no one's going to be able to publish anything because somehow or other all these algorithms and all these art processes are used over and over again. So that'll be interesting. I probably could have said that better, but you get the gist. I also was talking to him about some of the frustrations I've had in the past, where if I had had an expertise in AI, that could have really helped me to avoid some huge problems and some unnecessary expenses. And I see that as a huge opportunity in the AI industry. What we really need, there's a huge demand for people who are consultants in AI to help people from all walks of life use AI to do research, to understand how to approach different problems, and not just the problem today, but where is this, what kind of problems and pitfalls might I be having to deal with in a month from now or 6 months from now or a year from now, and being able to plan accordingly. One example of that is, back in 2020, I was developing a children's book, and um, part of that was I went to great lengths to put together a trademark that I paid some money to a legal firm for a little bit of help in putting together the paperwork to get that trademark registered. And so I think all told I paid, I can't remember, between $500 and $700 getting this all put together. And I bought a book. I did some research on it. I bought a book on trademarks. I went through and I learned all I could comprehend on the matter. I got the trademark registered um, with the U.S. Copyright Patent Office, and things were going peachy. But then, 6 months later, a year later, I started getting emails from the federal government saying, "Well, that's all great. You got this registered, but now this trademark needs to be established, and here's what you need to have to establish it." And I had not followed proper procedure in being able to establish that trademark. I had not followed their rules properly, and I was really, really frustrated because, as it seems, I would have had to have paid thousands of dollars to a trademark copyright attorney to make sure that this was understood and put together, and that the right processes were followed from beginning to end to be able to establish that trademark. And I talked to this gentleman yesterday about that, and I said, well, gee, wouldn't it be sure great if someone could use AI to anticipate these kinds of problems? Someone who knows very little about trademarks or other legal questions, say, hey, let's use AI to do some research here. What do I need to know now? What do I need to do now? And then not just now, but 6 months, 1 year, 10 years, 20 years down the line, based on this massive, they're all the legal code and all the legal precedents and everything out there. It's volumes and volumes and volumes, probably 1 million pages of documentation that should be looked at in order to be able to understand the legal problems and considerations that would need to be followed in going down that road and establishing a trademark. And he said that already exists. That already exists. I could do that today. There are various AI platforms that have an incredibly massive database and processes in place to actually do that kind of research. And so I was like, well, gee, who knew? And so, today we live in this massively complex world. Just in my world, in aviation, is just ridiculously complex. And I've dealt with, and I'm sure that this is not just me, but I think most people are dealing with increasing amounts of anxiety, just feeling absolutely overwhelmed by the complexity, all the details, all the technicalities, all the legalities, all the precedents, all the liabilities that go with all these elements of modern day life. It's overwhelming. And so one thing that I see coming down the road is people using AI to deal with all that, deal with all your finances, deal with all your legalities, deal with how to approach different problems and create methodologies for problem solving. And wouldn't it be great if we had some consultants that people could pay a rate to be able to get a little bit of help using AI to solve these problems? And you say, well, yes, there are AI consultants out there, but only the super rich can afford them. And so I thought, well, gee, that's an interesting perspective there. Maybe there should be more people who, if they're trying to figure out a career path, definitely, one path would be to offer yourself as a consultant on multiple platforms and multiple subject areas to use AI to help people to to get the answers that they need on what they need to do, what they need to understand in various endeavors. And so, I've got one son. He's done a few semesters of college. He's been talking about going to law school. Now he's apparently going on mission. But anyway, I thought, well, gee, maybe if he's going to go to law school, he should specialize in AI if he's going to go into legal services. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't already exist, it soon will. People going to law school are going to be required to take courses on AI, because I see that as being a huge part of the legal field, using AI to do legal research and put together cases, researching case law, etc., and being able to present legal arguments in court, which was that topic came up as well. Apparently, fairly recently, it hit headlines for those in the legal field. Some lawyers had used AI and in putting together their arguments, and with case law, you're using previous cases and rulings to establish precedents and be able to make a case for your clients. And apparently, they'd used AI and presented a previous case, which, as it turns out, was fictitious. And so, of course, that legal argument got thrown out, and that legal team was laughed out of court because they had used AI and presented a fictitious case and legal argument that didn't exist. It was in some textbook somewhere. And so there's a lot of questions and liabilities there, especially if you're going to use AI as a legal consultant of any kind to represent somebody. You're going to still have to do your due diligence. And if you were going to go into this as a career, that would be one of your big liabilities, would be not getting sued by those you're doing consulting for. There would have to be contracts signed and agreements made that whoever uses those AI consulting resources would still take ultimate final responsibility for the course of action that they take, understanding there are other consultants, there are other unknowns, and that the responsibility is ultimately theirs for whatever course of action they take. So that could be really interesting to see how that all works out. On a totally different note, it's been popping up on YouTube. There are various AI robots out there. I really haven't done anything personally with AI at all, and I frankly, especially with what I'm about to talk to, I don't want anything to do with it. But so there are these AI robots, AI personalities that are coming available, and one, it shows this highly attractive female robot personality on your computer screen that can have conversations with you. And I can see that as a hugely attractive deal for a lot of people who are deeply lonely, and want companionship, someone to talk to, have interactions with, visually, virtually, through AI. And I can definitely see the appeal with that, the temptation to go in that direction. But I would certainly warn anybody who is tempted by that to consider the plausible likelihood for insanity. You're gonna form a relationship with a fictitious AI personality that doesn't exist. Only your mental processes, your emotions don't know that. And suddenly you have this close, intimate relationship with a person that doesn't even exist. And that could lead to all kinds of delusion illusion and insanity. Um, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, but I don't think that most people are going to be worried about that. Most people simply want to feel good about themselves and feel good about their lives and be happy in the here and now. They're not going to look down the road at where these things lead. And then, of course, in AI, if we have millions of people globally using AI in relationships, I can just see the deep state using that in many different ways, psychological ways, hypnosis ways to be able to do mind control, to control people on many different levels. And so, this is a huge can of worms. It's been opened. We have people like Elon Musk and others who are warning the public about the dangers of AI. And but the reality is nothing is going to stop this. Nothing short of World War III is going to stop the AI revolution from occurring. And we're only in the very, very early stages. And so, buyer beware. Buyer beware. There is phenomenal utility and potential in AI to be very, very helpful, very creative. There's tons of potential utility there, but there is an equal and perhaps even greater inevitability in the AI industry to do great harm and irreversible damage. It could, in many ways, it probably will cause the destruction of our civilization, or at least augment and accelerate the destruction of our civilization. Ultimately, the destruction of our civilization will be accomplished through a combination of priestcraft, statecraft, and people choosing evil over good. And so, AI, it's like a gun. You can use a gun to protect yourself and to protect your, for the protection of life, liberty, property, and to do good. But you can also use a gun to do great damage and destruction and cause great suffering. So those are the thoughts that I've had on the topic of AI. If you're looking for a career path, no matter what career you're in, you might want to look into AI to see how AI is going to influence your career, especially if you're building a career. See how that's going to influence your career choice. Might that AI replace your utility? And so the tactic that most people are taking, most people that are smart, their thought process is, if I can't beat them, I'll join them. And so it behooves everybody to take careful consideration of the AI industry and figure out how to have this AI technology be something that augments and enables you and does not undermine your efforts to succeed and to provide a living for yourself and your loved ones. Anyway, that's all. Jared signing off.